Hello, and welcome to the talk no one talks about. I am your host, Akpan Eno Morris, and today we'll be having a very interesting topic talking about intersex people and their experience in the LBQTI community. But before we go further, I have some lovely people with me here on set, and we're going to be talking to them. Hello.
Hi.
Can you please tell us your name, what are your pronouns, and what you do?
Okay, my name is Eudora Ogechukwu. You can call me K. My pronouns are they, them. I am an intersex rights activist.
That's good to know. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ibuchim. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the communications officer for Initiative for Gender Equality and Sexual Reproductive Health.
Thank you very much. So, can you tell me a little bit, let's just talk a little bit about intersex people or things you feel we should know about them?
All right, so I think most things people do not know about intersex person, or I should say, when you talk about being an intersex, the first thing people will ask you, let me see your genitals. That is the first thing they'll ask you. But then people do not understand that being an intersex is just more than the genitals. There are chromosomes that are led to identify whether you're an intersex person or not. It doesn't have to be your genital. So I think people should start paying attention to that part. It's not just, okay, when you say, oh, I am an intersex person, people will want to look at your genitals to see. Some people will even ask you, which one is longer? Your vagina or your penis, which one is longer? So it's quite like, I mean, it's something somehow, and you'll be wondering like, does this person understand what is going on? There are other varieties that you need to understand, that being an intersex person is not just what I am carrying on that day. And then when you tell these people, oh, you are an intersex person, people are, I don't understand. I mean, what don't you understand? There are so many things people need to learn about intersex person. Maybe from this conversation, we'll have to like pinpoint most of them.
So Ibuchim, I'll be asking you, do you think that when we say intersex people understand the idea in total?
No, I don't, because I'm not intersex, so I don't understand it fully. I understand what I've read and what I've seen, but a lot of times people don't. There's no education around this. A lot of times,
even when you talk about even doctors in the community, doctors do not, because I had an experience last year where I was supposed to go to hospital, and I was like, okay. I mean, they were bringing out the data. I mean, it's boxed in either a he or a she. And I explained to them, I do not fall into any of these categories. Where do you fix me? And the first thing, a practicing doctor told me, oh, I need olive oil to anoint you. So I'm like, does that have to relate to being an intersex person? You're a doctor. You went to school, passed through medical school. Yeah. And for once, you never come across intersex person. It was like, oh, all of you are like this. That is, I'm like, oh, wow. Oh wow! This is how you practice.
It's very disappointing.
It's very, very disappointing.
It's very disappointing.
Somebody who is supposed to be a doctor,
yeah,
and then you are attending to someone, and a general doctor, you're attending to someone, and the first thing that comes to your mind is that, oh, I'm going to use olive oil to do deliverance for you. I mean, why all the people you've attended to in the hospital bed, why didn't you use the olive oil to cure all of them? It's very funny sometimes, actually.
And most times people are not really open to learning. They feel like they know it all.
Yeah, exactly.
So something new is always like, it's something that you can just easily ask questions.
Of course.
Yeah. Like asking questions doesn't make you stupid. It just makes you want to know more. So it's not that difficult.
I think Nigeria basically think alphabet just ends with A and Z.
Yeah.
They don't even care about those ones. So they just want to see either he
this or she. They don't want anything.
So when you talk about my pronouns, people are like, what are you saying?
Exactly.
What are you saying? Are you multitude? And somebody will be like, if I want to say K, how are you? Do I say K, how are them? I'm like,
it doesn't make sense.
How does it sound to you?
Wow.
At least listen to me. Like they don't want to listen. They'll be like, oh, they just want to the what they have in their head, because that norm is in their head already. That's the only conversation they want to have. They're not even open to learning from anybody.
Okay, can we say to a point, or can you say to a point that we cannot blame people in general because they are used to the A to Z, and anything coming in between is confusing? Do we say, okay, to what percent do you think we say, oh, okay, I blame you to this point, or at this point I'll let you go? Or do you think in general people should just be put in their place when they go wrong on the idea of intersex people?
The thing there is that, if for me, I would say let's hold the society responsible. But who are the society? People like me and you are the society. Some people are not willing to learn.
Okay.
People are so close-minded that anything that aside from what they know when they are growing up is what they believe in. Whatever you are saying doesn't make sense to them. So I think at some point, people need to take responsibilities of their actions.
Yeah.
I meet you today and I explain to you that this is who I am. Tomorrow, you expect me to start from beginning and start explaining to you because you feel like you don't understand. Oh, it is my right not to understand. It is my right to not to explain to you.
Exactly.
Your right not to take
exactly.
whatever it is. My right to say, okay, call me what I want.
Exactly. I do not have to deal with whatever you have to give to me. I mean, we are all human and we all coexist. So whatever you are bringing to me and tell me, oh, I will give you my own. And what I do is that whenever I go to a space, no matter wherever I'm going to, I will have to make that space conducive for myself.
Yes.
Because it is me first before you.
Exactly.
So the first thing I tell you is, this is my pronoun. My pronouns are they, them. Please do not use he or she. And then if it's a conversation is going on and I use a she, I'm like, oh, they. Next time you do, I will not answer you because it's obvious you're not talking to me. I mean, you're talking to a she. You're not talking to me. So if you need my attention, I will not answer you because I have stated, okay, this is my pronoun, respect it and give it to me. That makes me feel welcome. You don't have to put
you addressing
exactly. So if I give you that correction at that point and then coming back again, you make that mistake, I'm like, okay, my pronoun, and then I will not answer you. You will feel like you're talking, but I mean, I'll blank you because you're not talking to me. Okay. That's how it is.
All right. Okay. For, let's say in general, okay, without exempting myself, because even I myself sometimes makes that mistake. Even when they correct you and say,
my partner do all the time.
Even they say it is they, them, and at the point you now get to point you make that mistake, you're like, oh, okay, sorry. But funny enough, the next time you still obviously make that mistake.
Of course.
So do you feel like there are avenues to, do you think there should be avenues to educate the society or people to let them know that beside the pronouns, you know, the he, she, no, like without being too passive or being aggressive, do you feel there's a balance? Can we strike a balance?
I'm allowed to be aggressive. I am allowed to be aggressive about it. I am.
Okay. No, here we don't support violence. We are law-abiding, peace-loving people. So we are trying to strike a balance where we say, okay, you're not being passive. You're not just taking all of it down and say, oh, okay, come wherever it is you like, but you're not being aggressive. Can you put it in a way where we can strike this balance where I'm like, oh, okay, this is how you should know it. You should know this is who I am, but I'm not putting myself on the ground and I am not coming at you hard. Do you feel like, can you give me a scenario which you can present that?
If we want to start correcting all this, we need to go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
Right? Because look at the data collection tools most organizations use and most people use. It's basically he or she. You can just count few that give space to accommodate people like me, right? Yeah. So if we want to start talking about correcting it, we have to go back. But then you said you're not up to violence, but the Bible said that the kingdom of God suffered violent and only violent. So if you don't give it back to them exactly how it is, they will feel like, oh, this one is not even serious about it. Yes. If we are having conversation over the time and I bring it to you, okay, these are my pronouns, and you start, what is that? All of us are just here.
Yeah, that's very
You bring it up a bit again. I'm like, you have to. And then you're coming back with it again. I will ignore you. Like, that's my own part of being violent about it. Yeah. No matter whatever it's you are bringing to that, even if it's work, I will ignore you. Because, I mean, if you want to work with me, you have to create an inclusive and conducive environment for me. You don't make it hard for me to correct it and expect me to work with you. So if we want to start correcting that, we have to be harsh about it. We have to, because you know they handle Nigerians with easier. Nigerians don't take, like they feel, especially when they feel like people who take it easy are weak people. So when you, I mean, I'm not saying you should throw up a blow, but be diplomatic about your fights.
Yeah.
Like disrespect them in a diplomatic way. When you do that. Them. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm disrespecting you, but it's very diplomatic for you to understand that, yes, I am disrespecting. And that's the reason why I am disrespecting you. So we can do that. And if you see, when you do that, when the person see you tomorrow, they will remember what happened. Oh, this is what, they will pick up. You know, okay, they, them. That is it. But if you my pronouns are, you are going to rub it on them for a whole long time before it will enter. But if you give them boost back to back,
Okay.
we'll come to that.
Generally, I don't like to argue about my pronouns, to be honest. I just try to say, but use they or use they. And like you said, immediately you're not listening and you start to use she. I don't just reply you. I just stop. And one thing that people need to understand is when you misgender somebody, stop putting so much emphasis on, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, please don't forgive me. Like, I don't have to forgive you.
I don't have to.
I don't. You just have to move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, like, just move on. Like, as you've made a mistake, they move on, just change it and move on. And
Exactly.
you need to remove the perspective of this person is a woman in your head. That's the first step of it, to be honest. It's not easy, but it's the first step. You need to just like stop seeing people in a binary and just remove them.
At the end of the month, you have a menstrual
Exactly.
flow.
Like that does not even make any sense. Like,
and the honest truth is that not even every woman go through menstrual cycle.
exactly.
Is that what they do not understand? But when they say, this thing that you're doing, buga, at the end of the day, you cry for menstrual. I'm like, yo, do I cry to you?
Okay.
I have one question, but not all intersex people use they them pronouns.
Yes,
right?
of course. There are people that want to be binary.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Just
Okay.
like people, there are cisgender people that do not use he or she. There are cisgender people that do not use he or she because
Yeah.
they do not want to. So it is left for me to choose what I want to.
Okay.
For me, I choose they and them because I want to identify with every variety that appears in me as
Yes.
human. I do not want to
Yes.
dump any of them. If I am going with she, there are so many I am dumping. If I'm going with he, there are so many. So I want everything. Like I can have it all.
All right.
I can have it all without stepping back.
Okay. You guys have made a whole lot of interesting contributions, but we know as humans, there are important part of humans we cannot do without, and that is health. You made mention of going to see a doctor and the doctor is asking you, oh, let me sprinkle oil on you and all of that. Do you feel like, or as an intersex person, do you think like the healthcare has failed you in an aspect, or do you think, at this point the healthcare has met up to standard, or at this point they are failing?
I don't think there's nothing done in health. There's nothing done at all. If a medical doctor who is working in Federal Medical Center does not understand what being an intersex is all about, what do you think it's? I think they need to go back to the
Drawing board.
Comprehensive sexuality education, encompassing it in school, like when they are teaching people that they know that handles health issues, right? I think they have made the curriculum so binary that is discriminate whatever does not even fall into that. Let me take you back to our previous conversation. You know that the issues of intersex person is not just only in the broader. It is also in the community.
Yes.
LGBTIQ community. Intersex persons are mostly discriminated too because they'll feel like, oh, our project does not cover this. Our project does not cover this. It is only this. But then, what happens to the intersex community? Now, if recently there are so many conversations around intersex person because people are coming up to speak. You have to take me along. But prior to now, it's mostly this one, this, and then even aside organization working for LGBTIQ person amongst us. You will see us gather. Oh, the men should go this side, the women should go. Where do I go to?
Oh,
Like I don't even belong to those categories. Where do I go to? You will see all those things that making the environment like very, very exclusive, like not providing a accommodating environment. Then going back to the health sectors, we do not even have. Okay, let me burst your bubbles. There is no data that show that this is how many intersex persons we have in Nigeria. We don't even have
receiving health care.
Not even like existing.
Generally, wow.
Do you understand? In Nigerian system, we don't even exist. But here I am, and there are so many other people like me. So when you do not even think about us existing, why do you think you would draft a curriculum for our healthcare system?
Yeah.
So it's mostly like everything is we are just excluded. If you have to go to hospital, it's either you have to access care as a man or a woman. You cannot access care as an intersex person. And it's very like, but me, when I had my myomectomy surgery last year at General Hospital, I went there, I told them, you cannot take my data as a male or a female. It was like a whole battle, back and forth. I said, so what they did is they now create a space for order. That very day in their hospital, I'm like, okay, fine. Yes, I am order. From this place, we are taking another step. At least now, if another person who does not fall into your box comes in, they'll tick that part, order.
Yes.
And you realize that, yes, there. And when you are getting that like feedback from other, you
Data.
realize that like these people, okay,
They exist.
this is how. And then if we can be able to do that, I know that even at this point, the doctors we have now do not understand. But if we can go back to readjust the curriculum, like let the doctors know that at your point of your service, you will meet people like this.
Yes.
There is no way you will not meet intersex persons.
Okay. I would like to ask a question. We are hitting on the health sector. Do you think like the rest, because as intersex people, we know as we are humans in general, we all fall sick, we get diseases and all of that. But when we leave the normal common cold, fever, malaria, let's come into sexual health. We have HIV, AIDS, infections and all of that, STDs, STIs. We deal with birth controls, we deal with what measures you think should be put in for an intersex person who is going in, who feels, okay, maybe I have a rash, I have STI, because you know that you'll be asked, like you already talked about, you'll be put, oh, are you a man? Are we treating you as a man? What you say as a woman? You have an STI, you have STD, are you treating you as a man or a woman? You need protection, sex protections. Do you need for a man or a woman? So what do you think, what are the measures that should be put in place to deal with, first, treatment of STDs, STIs, resources that should be made available, to preventive measures, whatever preventive measures you want to use during sexual intercourse, like sexual reproductive health in general, what measures do you think should be put in place to make it work
so
better?
I think the first thing that should work is creating awareness of the existence of intersex person, because so many people are ignorant of that, even in the health sectors, right? So when you create that awareness, people will understand, oh, okay, these people actually exist. That is when you start, what are their basic needs? What do they need as intersex person? Because you have to know about these people before you know what their needs are. Now, intersex persons are human. Just like every other human being experience healthcare challenges. They do experience healthcare, even though there are some healthcare challenges that are directly on intersex person, like specifically, which nobody till date, nobody have been able to say, oh, this is what we can do about it.
Okay,
So,
can you give us maybe an example of a situation you feel
now,
is peculiar to an intersex person and not being looked at?
An intersex person is prone to cancer.
Oh, okay.
But people do not know that. Now, there are so many women today who are, I'm just using the word women, right? Who are married, but they do not have kids. They are not able to conceive. But because people do not understand the existence of intersex person, they will tag this person a barren woman without thinking about if this person has intersex condition. Same thing is applicable to a man. There are so many specific things that goes wrong, even in the growth. Like when I was growing, when I found out I was an intersex person, the person that came to, oh, I'm going to have cancer at this age. I'm going to have, that's the fear in there, because having to deal with so many these conditions, especially when your chromosomes are there, having to deal with it, you are scared that, oh, this thing. But then nobody is talking about, nobody is even having a conversation around that to say, oh, what do we do for them to be able not to experience this when they are, what do we do for them to have like a basic life just like other people? There are so many things, but the first thing first is creating awareness.
Yes, okay.
It's when we create awareness that we'll start having conversation. And when we have conversation, we'll start adjusting our healthcare curriculum to be able to include intersex persons to care and services.
Okay, let's go back home. Let's run it back. We're talking about the healthcare in general. Let's run it back. Let's bring it back home. What's it like being an intersex person in the LGBTQI community? Like, what would you say is the main experience, or using your pronouns? Because we know we are dealing with intersex people, but some people who use these pronouns, I would like to ask you that question. People who use the pronouns they, them, even in the community, like you talked about, have issues, they are being like discriminated. What's your own? This one is a she, this one is a he. Stop confusing everybody. So what will you say we're bringing it back to the community. In the community, what will you say what does it feel like using those pronouns around other LBQTI people or LGBTQI people?
I think it's literally it's not new. But people feel like it is introducing, I don't know, there's this Airtel advert, was it last year or this year? That, I don't know, do you guys watch adverts there where she's the only person not using Airtel line. And then everywhere she goes, she's invisible. Even when she's passing to enter her office, the door doesn't open, because that's how intersex people are in the community. We are there, but we are invisible. because people are already in their own boxes, and I mean they want to be in their boxes. Some of us that do not want to be in the boxes are just sitting there like, should I say, is it iceberg guys? They're not even seeing us at all. So it's much like I think she does say that okay, anytime I talk about my pronoun in a gathering of LGBTQIA people, you're stressing us. Okay, stop stressing us, a woman. You get that, and it comes like it's
like even when you are home and you feel like you're home, you're still far away.
Exactly. Like you feel like you don't even belong here. I went for a focus group discussion sometime. I left there because I mean the conversation was like, why are you using they them? It's not vagina you have. I'm like inside,
and
I looked around to be sure if I am in the right place, and I was in the right place. And like, nah, you push this thing, and it was not transferring to trans people. That how can a man be behaving like a man? You know, I'm like,
okay, so
are you people having this conversation here?
like homophobia, even in the
transphobia.
like even in the community,
selective homophobia.
I think it's transphobia.
They are very selective.
Okay, you want
it's actually called transphobia because a lot of homosexual people are transphobic.
That's
yes.
So
it's not even
I wanted to answer that question also, like using the pronouns they, them, because even in the community, we know some people still feel it is weird. And being Africans, you know, when you tell somebody, they say, oh, what are you? And you say, she. And you say, no, I'm not a she. I'm a they. It brings this look like, how many are you?
Is it not breast?
No, not even like someone asking you, how many are you?
So,
like, are them? Like, I'm just talking to you. So, if I'm correct, your pronouns are they, them. So, talking about someone with the pronouns they, them, what would you say is the experience when people address you, even in the community?
It's actually very stressful, to be honest. Like, it's stressful sometimes that I don't even have the energy to actually even say anything. It's like, you're always constantly fighting in your head. Like, oh, are you going to misgender me now? What do you see? Who are you? How do you look at me? Yes, exactly. Like, is it a good moment to say something or should I keep quiet? Are you going to realize that you just misgendered me and change your perspective? It's very, very stressful. And I'm not even intersex. Do you get? So I just use they, them pronouns. So every time people just see me, at first they're like, oh, who is this? And then when I speak, they hear my voice and now they can now put me in a binary, right?
In a box. Like,
yes,
okay,
like my voice is feminine. So this person is a woman, obviously. Yeah. Like at a meeting I was at, right? Somebody was asking another person about me and the person was like, oh, who is that? And is that person a man or a woman? And then the person was like, oh no, they are non-binary. And they're like, non-binary what? Is it a man or a woman? Like, and it was like, what does that mean? Like, where is the breast? Like, they're like, where is the breast? And I'm like, what does that mean? It's crazy.
It feels like you are even stressing them when you are the one stressing
exactly them. Like they're like, oh, it's too stressful. I don't know how to say it. It's too hard for me. I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Like if you care, you want to make a sentence. How do I include your pronoun? Include it anyhow.
Like if you care, you say it. Okay. If you care, you do it.
Anyhow, but you have to.
Okay, you just talk about being stressed. Okay, that brings in mental health because we know that I know, like, even as a human being and even talking to a child and you're correcting a child, like, don't do this. And or even when you're teaching a child an assignment and you say, this is, and the child says something else, and you're like, you heard me. I just said, this is. You know, it gets to a point where you become so stressed and you're like,
exactly.
God, hold my hands. Some people, like, you're just trying not to hit this child. This is a child we're talking about. So now, bringing it into dealing with adults, with teenagers and all of that, you talked about being stressed. That means your mental health as a person, you're coming to a space you feel like you should be comfortable. But here, people are talking and at every point in time, you're like, God.
So this mental health.
How do you deal with it
this mentally? Mental health of a thing is, I think that's where my partner comes in to start learning about my pronoun, right? Because she's like, it was quite a new thing to her when we met. So at some point, she'll now be like, oh, I don't want to threaten your mental health. Let me go and learn your pronoun. So if she's coming like, your pronoun, they, them. Am I right? Do you get? Now, for me, I think I was basically everywhere in the community, 2017, 2018, 2019, right? But at some point, I withdrew. Like, I am there, but I did not have to be there physically because of the environment. Yeah,
it was hostile.
Right?
Was very
hostile. Especially at that point where because prior to now, I didn't want to talk about me being an intersex. But that moment I came out as an intersex person, it was more like, oh, you don't belong here. There are people who belong here. Like, who are you again? How do we even start taking you along? Feels like you are drawing us back.
Yeah.
Do you get? So when you get to that hostile environment, people are like, okay, your own self, your own. Do you get? I stopped appearing.
Yeah.
I have to like pick where I go to, so that I would not have to like start dragging my pronouns or start letting you know that I am here also. Because me as a person, the most important thing to me is my mental health.
Okay.
I do not trade it, no matter whatever it is. I do not trade it with whatever that is going to. I'll leave it. I'll step out. So I just withdrew myself from the community as large. I still work for the community, but I can work for the community from the comfort of my bed.
Where your head is more calm.
Exactly. I can work for my community from anywhere. I do not have to be there presently, be engaged. I can't be there.
Will you say that, or do you think you ever got to this point where you felt, okay, this is my breaking point, or you got so mentally stressed, you have to maybe see a therapist? Or we know that as African people, seeing a therapist is not mainly our thing, but we know as humans, we should always seek mental health care.
How many therapists do you think understand intersex condition?
Wow.
That's a valid question.
Oh, wow.
That's a very difficult question.
How many therapists actually understand sexual minority issues? We don't even have much. And even if we have any therapists like that, it is very, very expensive.
So now you have to deal with being an intersex person. You have to dealing with mental health issues.
One thing about me is that I built myself, like I started experiencing life at quite young age.
Yeah.
Right? I came from a background where I basically have to give myself everything I want. Like nothing was offered to me. As a young child, I started on my own to provide for myself. So I built this world, this huge wall that you have to crack that wall before you come in to mess my mental health. I've shielded. Do you get? So if it's getting to that point where I see that this is going to affect me, I drop it at that point. So that has been my safest space. I do not let you into my space to affect me. It up. Exactly. Because I mean, where is the therapist? Basically, the therapists we have around everywhere are relationship therapists. None of them even understand what a gender minority is or what sexual minority is. And everything is not.
It doesn't have to always be a relationship.
Some people that will even refer young LGBTIQ persons to are basically relationship therapists. Because they feel like they are allies, or they understand what it is to be a sexual minority. And at the end of the day, they don't even understand what it is. And then NGOs that have therapists are not accessible. You have to wait and queue. At some point, we are tired of queuing
and getting tired.
So we don't even have people who understand the therapists. Name a therapist in Nigeria that understand what being an intersex person is.
So basically, we can say that one, intersex people are like they are being represented at a minority level. So you have to deal with your minority
inside minority.
You have to deal with your mental health, and now you don't even have someone you can talk to, someone who can deal with these issues. So now we can say that? Can we say dealing with health wise, because your mental health is part of it?
Yeah.
So we're just saying it's not only lacking in the health, the bodily health, but it's lacking in mental health also.
Of course,
yes.
I think basically we are the tiniest community that people do not even understand, recognize or understand. So nothing. People, let's say in this life have plans written out. We are not even part of the plan because people you do not understand their existence. How are you going to include them? Exactly. Do you get? So plans were already made before people start hearing about us. So it's basically like everything was planned without including us. There was no intention of including people like me.
Okay, so let's talk about few times. I remember there was a time on Twitter, this lady came out, and I think that was the first time I heard about being an intersex person, and she said she's intersex, and she explained, people asked questions on Twitter, so what does it mean being an intersex person? And she explained herself. I think a few people have been able to have such information on the media, like social media.
So that person that came out on this is my friend. Okay. And what happened then? on that tweet, I think that was when Anand decided, okay, I'm going to come out. When she dropped her tweets, I shared it. It was my own that Instablog carried.
Oh,
Like
wow.
the Instablog posted that. And then that was when my people in the office were like, oh, I'm like, and then I'm like, does it even matter if I come out as an intersex person? And so, why didn't you tell us? Why do I need to
Why
tell
do you need to tell exactly?
But do you know
like, I did not
Like,
tell
why?
them. I did not
What
tell them,
would it
oh,
change?
I am here. You are here working with us. Why didn't you tell us? You went to the internet. Are you chasing cloud?
People are so entitled.
sorry, you were saying something about you feel it's not good. It doesn't like coming out to tell people that.
And like,
I'm
why does it
intersex.
have to change
Exactly.
anything? Why do you have to know for you to? What will you do now that
Exactly.
you know?
What exactly? Like, it was not like, this is,
What
I
will
just
you
wanted
do?
to live my life. And you're telling me, oh, I have to come to talk to you
Look,
first.
like,
before
have you
going-
created that safe
putting it-
space
putting it-
first?
Exactly. Do you get?
Have
Do
you?
create that space
Yeah,
to
for
even-
me to come and tell you.
Exactly.
But do you think? Okay, let's bring LGBTQI people, personally, the community as a whole. Most people get to learn about them, from intersex people to lesbians to bi to transgender to everybody. They get to learn about them mainly through the social media and the
Because that
mainstream
is
media.
the only avenue that people feel like, because I can be
Safe
on my bed
enough.
and tweet online
Yeah.
without, but I cannot, like, there's some things I cannot go out. Even me, I don't think there's anything I cannot say actually at this stage of my life.
But
I don't
other people-
think that there are young people, young LGBTIQ person. There are things they cannot say openly, but you see them talking about it on their
On the
social media
internet,
because they feel
yeah.
that is their safe space.
Mhm.
Why growing
Yeah.
up, social media was my safe. There are so many people
Same.
that social media are their safe space at this point. They don't even have spaces at home, even among the community, but they depend on social media. And then the thing there is that there are so many wrong narrative on social media.
Yeah.
So that
And it's really affecting the young people actually.
Alright.
Like you come here, you believe this. You come here, you believe this. This person will come and tell you, oh, because you are masculine presenting, you're not supposed to be a bisexual. Or it's already there on the internet, and young person is coming tomorrow to read it, and that is a misconception.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is the only safe space they have. You don't expect them to get it because they can be locked in their room with their phones. And they are on social media talking to people, reading what they want to read. It doesn't give them time to meet somebody else. Who do they even want to talk to?
Okay,
Exactly.
minus the media, social media. We're talking about movies, music, shows, television programs. Do you feel like, okay, do you think like there are things we should do? Or should there be more movies about intersex people? Should there be more novels? Because for now, I think I've never seen any novel that talks about an intersex person. I've not seen any movie.
There is
I don't
maybe
know.
I've not seen.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying.
it's quite an archaic novel. What's the name? I'll remember the name before the end of the show.
Okay.
and
So,
then-
do you think? Okay, like you said, it's a cake. Do you think that do you feel there should be means intersex people should be brought into conversation more in novels, in movies, and all of that to change the narrative?
Of course, there are some things there are things we need to be putting out there. Yeah, it's a great deal that Netflix these days, they always put in LGBTIQ scenes in their movie, but that's
Yeah.
not enough, right? I've not seen I've seen the movie, I viewed I did the screening of this movie in Nigeria last year, with Awid. Was basically talking about intersex person, but here in Nigeria, you can't even get something like that. Like it doesn't even exist. That's where it's coming. Like we made plans without us. Like you've planned how the whole world should run without us. So I think if we start putting out communications, like information about intersex, even if it's as basic as flyers, even if it's basic as tweets, even if it's as basic as talks like this. Right? Things like this. So people, I mean, if somebody else listens to our podcast today, they will understand, oh, okay, there's an intersex. And there are young people who do not even understand why. I did not know I was an intersex person until I got to the age of 18 and I found out myself. I mean, my people never told me, oh, you had this.
Can I ask how you found out?
Okay. It was, when you are in school, I mean, you are with your peer groups. Everybody's menstruating. Yours is not coming.
Just 3,
Exactly.
SS1.
Breaks are coming. Mine is not coming. Sometimes I'm going to school just because I want to belong. I'll go and carry my mom's bra, stuff it with. So sometimes I'll just pick out tissue, stain it with blood to pad up. I mean, I want to belong to my peer group. So I never knew I was an intersex person. Then I was in my second year in school. I was more like, why it did not have, and I can't ask my mom because I do not have like a close relationship with anybody because it's already like, oh, this person is an outcast. I do not have like a close relationship. I went online I think the first thing I googled online, what could make a woman not to see her period? That was the first thing I typed. And they were saying so many things. And then it came up like intersex. I was like, okay, what does it mean to? And I started reading. I went to hospital. The doctor I spoke to was like, I think he said that my hormones are not normal. That's why I did not see. I said I want to see a gynecologist. I'm in health. Like I am a pharmacist. I'm reading pharmacy in school, so and already understand. Even though in school we're not talking about intersex person, but then why are you telling me that my hormones are not normal? There is definitely something wrong with. Then I went to General Hospital. Okay, I was like, oh, I am an intersex. Then I'm like,
seriously, where did this come from?
I'm 19.
Yeah, and you never heard about it before now?
Like, it initially was called hermaphrodite.
Yeah, that's the
so
one.
and that's like people are anyway. Some people feel like, okay, call me a hermaphrodite. It's not, but to me it's so derogatory. Like, why would you call me a hermaphrodite? So when at that point, and that was the word the doctor used for me at that time. So it felt so horrible. Like, me of all people, I'm going through a lot in this life already. Why do I have to carry this burden?
Also.
Do you get? So, and then I spoke to one of my lecturers then in school, and she was like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being an intersex person, and thank God you find out you could just take care of yourself and grow with it.
You know what you do from there.
Exactly. You don't even know. That was when I realized, okay, I mean, it's not an I am human, I'm alive, I exist, so I can coexist. But then at that point, I already knew I'm attracted to women. Yeah. Right?
I was going to even ask you.
Yeah, I already knew I was attracted to women. And in my head, I'm a lesbian. And today I'll tell you that I'm a lesbian. Even though I don't identify as a woman, I'll still tell you I'm a lesbian. But then, we all have lesbians. There is nobody, I'm not seeing anybody as an intersex person.
Like, that makes sense.
Do you get? Yeah. I'm only seeing, even in the community, I'm only seeing lesbians, bisexuals. That was when intersex condition is not sexual orientation. Yeah. Right? Okay. I can be a human and have any sexual orientation. Like that.
That your sexual orientation is different from
exactly. That was where I started, okay, fine. I started adjusting. I started like having conversation with other women. You get? So it was 2016. I'm like, yo, fuck this. I'll have to live my life. Like,
you can't keep being under that shadow forever.
Like,
right?
I was in a shell for a very long time. I was in that shell. I will not even tell you, oh, I'm an intersex or anything. Even at some point in my place of work, women there, everybody, once in a month, everybody complain of menstrual. Oh, I'm going through this. They were like, "Okay, we've never seen you complain." And I'm like, what is it? Should I come and be crying like all
should
of
I roll
you?
on the ground?
Exactly.
What you know about it?
Within me, I know that this is not happening. Yeah. Right? I'm not experiencing this, but I already know within myself, but I don't owe you that explanation. So when they ask me, we've not seen you 247, you're working, and I say, do I have to come and start shouting? I'm a strong person. I don't have to shout for menstrual time. Until that day, when the lady that tweeted it, made that tweet, I'm like, okay.
You can do this also.
Exactly. I shared her tweet, like, we exist. That was the one that people captured. Okay. I'm like, I mean,
so,
what is it?
I want to ask you a question. This is now dealing with intersex people. Okay, you said someone asked you, you've not seen your period. Why have you not seen it? Do you feel like if probably talking about it, oh, okay, as a person, this is who I am. Do you feel it's going to change like the narrative? This talking to intersex people now, do you feel like if they talk more about it rather than keeping their shell?
I wish I had someone who was talking about intersex community. I won't go through that mess.
Yeah. He went through. So do you think do you feel like you as a person, or like, no, we're speaking to intersex people in general, do you feel like in general, like they should come out and talk about these issues?
Of course.
Present this and say, oh, this is who I am. I don't want to hide. Joshua,
sorry, I was going to say that I feel like a lot of times intersex people are still coming, they're still trying their best to talk about these issues as much as they can, but they need allies. They need people that are not intersex to also talk about these issues. And they need other people to read up, because a lot of times there's so much talking you can do. If people are not listening, you're talking to a brick wall.
Communication is not just the key.
Yeah, it's not just one way. Other people need to also put in that effort. Like a lot of times when in minority groups, people always leave the hard work to us all the time. It's like, oh, we have to do this, we have to be patient, we have to teach, but you also need to learn. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to understand. You have to be willing to hold spaces. You have to be willing to also talk about those issues for other people. That's how it works.
Intersex Nigeria came into existence, right? We have young people who are openly talking about being an intersex.
Yes.
That's an encouraging something. I have people, when I talk on I am very active on my social media. When I talk, young people will come to me like, thank you for saying so and so thing. And I'll find out why. And that's, I always say that. I wish that the older generation are so loud the way we are loud now. We won't be in this critical situation. But because everyone just want to live their life and pocket however they are living it, doesn't concern anybody. But many people, it's concerning a whole lot of people, because young people are committing suicide today because they do not understand themselves. They will see themselves among their peers and they feel like, why are my peers different?
Why am I different from
exactly.
others?
Yeah. And that alone is messing up their hair. And the next time you say this person is that. But if we are so loud, that is why when people ask me, why are you so loud about your sexuality? Who cares? I said, there are people who fucking care.
Exactly.
I am not loud for you. I am loud for that young person out there.
Yeah, because
who
you are once that person.
Who will see me and know, yes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with who I am, and I can be anything I want to be, no matter whatever it is. So I'm not so loud. I'm not shouting so that the homophobic or heterosexual will hear me. No, my loudness is not for you. My loudness is for those young people out there to understand that, yes, whoever they are, they do not need to give a fuck about
what anybody says.
That makes so much.
As we're growing as young people, as we're developing into adults and all of that, people go into different career choices. Would you say, as an intersex person, would you say being an intersex, has it ever affected your means of employment, or has it ever affected you in the workplace? How were you treated?
So, the thing there is that mostly I always say that I do not wear my sexuality. Intersex condition is not sexuality. I do not wear my sex characteristics anywhere I am going to.
Okay.
I am offering you what am I capable of doing?
Yes.
Right. So I'm coming into your space. First thing I will do is what do I have to offer you? I'm not coming into there to offer you anything as an intersex, but even though that most of my joy has to because I am an intersex, that's why. But then, as it is for me, it might not be the same as other intersex people. So I'm going to be speaking. Maybe I'm speaking from a place of, should I call it privilege? Because I went to school. Like I am learned, I understand, and I have some skills that I can offer to people. So what I put out first, anyway, I'm going to are my skills.
Not your sexual characteristics.
Exactly.
But do you get discriminated when they find out about your sexual characteristics?
Of course. But then I had like one issue like that. I think we were reviewing a policy book, and then the first day we went there, and it was normal. Who is this person? We are having a lot of conversation. The next day I went, I was wearing a t-shirt. This is what a lesbian look like. So everywhere become dead. Do you get? Everywhere become automatically dead. So people that were having conversation with me previously, because they will see me, they say, are you a footballer? Are you an entertainer? That's the first. So nobody.
I always ask them, do I look like I can run
like
for football?
Nobody's thinking. But the second day I came out, this is what a lesbian looked like. It was more like a dead place. You realize that people are withdrawing.
Like,
right?
oh, she's a lesbian.
Like, you get, you realize that, of course,
the evil
for
of
every time, no matter whatever you have to offer, there are some, but then at that point, they already realize that you are important in that space.
Yes.
Wow.
And taking you out is going to affect them. They don't have any option than to go ahead with the whole thing. So it comes up, people, I would not exempt people who people want to sleep before they give them job. It happens. And when I cannot sleep with you because so and so, then the job is gone. I cannot accept. It happens.
So,
but me personally, it has always been about, and then.
So you're trying to say you've never been discriminated. Employees have not treated you differently.
I have been treated differently.
But now, you put your skills first.
Exactly.
Okay, you're trying to say, okay, your skills have to stand for you.
I go in with my skills first. What do I have to offer you in this space before I am coming in? And then, because of the kind of person I am selective of where I go to, who I work with. So I do not open myself to that, even though there are sometimes like 1 or 2 times, I cannot work with this person. This person is so masculine for me. This
As a human, you still have your own exceptions.
Exactly, like it happens. It comes in like there's no way you can explain it. It comes in once, twice, all the time. But then, as me, I'm always frustrating them. Because first of all, you have to, this is what we are doing and this is what. So at that point, it's a hard nut. I am a hard nut for you to crack. There's no way you can you can't do it without me because I am contributing already. Who do you want to come and put in my place again?
This is your space and you have a space and you are employing people. What do you think is that thing you put in place to make the employment space more more comfortable for intersex people?
See, me, I don't know, but I've had it in mind that if I'm going to run an office and I'm going to employ people, are going to do as they want. Like this, I don't know, this government now open door policy.
Okay.
As long as you are delivering, I don't even care what you do. I don't care how you come to work. I don't care what time. As long as, hey, give me this, you're giving it to me. That is where our problem. What as in you're delivering immediately? That is where my problem with you. Like, I feel like this working at any time and give me what I don't have to police you around. Why do I even need to care about your sex card and your sexual orientation? I am looking out for people who can offer me something. Do you get it? People who have something to offer, and then it's not just about people who are willing to learn.
Yeah.
People who I can grab, because if you are looking for people that you get frustrated about, take people and groom them to what you want them to be.
Okay, we've had a whole lot of important points, a lot of things that we talked about. But before we run this out, can you just give us, talking to intersex people out there, what would be that thing you want to tell them? You say, oh, you're an intersex person, I'm speaking to you from a place of experience. What is that one thing you tell them from what you've gone through, things you've experienced? What is that thing you want to tell them?
All right, so to every young intersex person, I'm not talking to the older ones. I mean, to every young, yes, I am, but they are shaming me already. To every young intersex person out there is one thing I want to tell you, is that you can be anything. You can achieve anything. I mean, your sex characteristics does not define who you are. The world will kick against you. Everybody around you will kick against you. But what you owe yourself is being who you are and step up to achieve what you want to be. Do not look at anybody's face. The world is yours. You can make it yours.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's good advice.
With that final word you give, say, intersex people out there, what is that thing you want them to go home with?
I'm just going to support what Kay says. I feel like you can do anything. You can be anything you want to be. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to care about anybody.
Exactly.
Nobody at all. Care about yourself first.
I mean, we own this world. That's what I always tell people. Like,
we are the
why do you need to accept me? We own this life together.
Thank you. I want to say thank you very much, Kay, for making this interesting. Thank you for talking to us about all these troubles and issues that says people have to go through. I think after this, they will know how to relate. They will know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Buchim, thank you for sitting with us, for giving us ideas, supporting us, helping us through this section.
Supporting programs.
Okay, this is
supported
to intersex people out here. Like Kay said, make yourself relevant. In everything you do, being intersex is not the end of the world. It's, yes, you're going to have problems. Yes, actually, you're going to have problems. But there's one thing you should learn: always wear your helmet whenever you're going to. So whatever they throw at you, you
throw them back.
Whatever they throw at you, you know that you're able to withstand it. Make yourself very relevant, that nobody will take you out of a space because, oh, you're intersex, you are this.
Exactly.
Make sure that your feet are strong. Acquire skills, be educated. Do not use that as a point to be lazy or uneducated. Don't be rude to people and say,
no, be rude if they are rude to you.
Be rude if they are rude to you. Back to back.
Give them.
We are still here. Listen to me. Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. Be rude. Attack them. Fire for fire.
I know it's not going to be easy, but do not use that as a reason. Some people feel, okay, because of whatever they are, do not use that as a reason to slack down on who you are. Lift yourself up and always remember that you are loved. You're beautiful just the way you are. You're created for exploit and nobody should tell you less. And it's at this point that we're going to be wrapping this up. It was lovely sharing these ideas with you. Stay with us as we go through these journeys. I am your host, Akwaneno Morris. Like, share, subscribe, drop comments, give us experiences you've gone through, issues you want us to talk about on intersex people. If you think you have issues, talk to us. We'll always be there to listen to you. Thanks for staying with us and